Dusty Shell, director with Usborne Books More, here to share with you some of our hidden gems from our catalog. Now these might be new to you because they aren't often featured in videos or in parties, but they're still excellent books to add to your home library, and our family really enjoys them. I'm going to start first with this board book. This is our little red penguin guy. We have 4 in this series: colors, numbers, shapes, and words, and they're just fun illustrated books that teach basic concepts for little ones. And I like that they have big flaps. Little hands can't always manipulate smaller flaps, but they still like to use them. And it'll ask you a question, who is flying this plane? And then you open the flap and it says, it's me, green crocodile. So you can discuss what's going on in the picture and get a glimpse at some basic colors to teach your child. This here is a paperback book. It's not very big, but I think it's really fun if you're studying history or just to teach your children about different time periods. It's called Then and Now, because what it does is compares life long ago with life now, and different things like shopping or what bedrooms look like or clothing, and it'll show you, let me get you a close-up here, like then in the shop and what a shop would look like, and then now in the supermarket and what it looks like now. And like here, then at the railway station, and this one isn't, it's a 2-page spread for the month, so then return, and then now at the train station. So kids can really get a glimpse at how times have changed through the years in the kitchen and now. And I just find it really interesting even as an adult. There's a blacksmith there, and now when you go to the garage to fix your car, because they used to travel by horse and now we do by car, a really great resource to have on your shelf. Telling the Time features our Farmyard Tales family, and it has a little clock, so it's interactive, so you can, when you're teaching your children basic time concepts, you open it up and it's got the small story in here, and it talks about this Mrs. Boot and all of her friends and animals, and you have a little story, but it asks questions so you can have them set the time of the clock to match the story. Like here, she's waking her up and she says, what time is it? And she says it's 7 o'clock, so then you can have them move the hands of the clock to make 7 o'clock. And I think this is good for practice, and it also shows practical life application using familiar characters if you've ever read our Farmyard Tales. This one is really special. It's Wilfred Gordon MacDonald Partridge, and he's a little boy who lives near a nursing home and makes friends with residents there, and it's really heartwarming. And his favorite, let me get a picture of her because I want to, his favorite resident is Miss Nancy Allison Delacourt, and he loves to chat with her. And one day she tells him that she's lost her memories and he doesn't know what a memory is, so he goes through and asks a lot of the residents what a memory is, and they all give him an answer, and then he wants to help her find them. And this is by Mem Fox, who is a really popular author. You have probably read a book by her in the past, and this one just holds a really great place in my heart because it shows how children and the elderly can be great friends and how friendship crosses all generations. Lion's Speedy Sauce is a fun little paperback book that comes with a musical CD. Lion is the leader of a band, and one day he's just very sleepy, and the tempo as he leads is just getting slower and slower and slower. And so then he decides to take a break, and he gets some hot sauce on his food, and it gives him a little pep in his step. And as you go through, it'll go over, the rhythm and the meter of his march when he finally starts to pick up the speed. And then in the back of the book, it's got activities and the words that go along with the songs that are on the CD. This is a really fun, interactive book that can get your kids up and moving. Cookie Crumbs is a book of poetry. I think it's really important to expose kids to poetry from a very young age. It's helpful for their language development, it expands their vocabulary, and it's just fun to read. And this has lots of great cute poems in them, accompanied by fun illustrations, and is a good introduction to poetry if they've never had one. And the subtitle is Poems in Praise of Dizzy Days. So they're really geared to give you a smile as you read them. Olga de Polga is a classic story that you may or may not have heard about. It's by Michael Bond, who wrote Paddington Bear, and it's about Olga, this little guinea pig, who sometimes exaggerates stories but is very endearing and has friends, and she tells them about her adventures, and then she also has them on their own adventures as she tells about her life. And it is a longer story, so it's great for a read aloud or for an older child to sit down and read. But it's really a classic and just so fun to read with your kids as you follow Olga on her adventures and hear how she relays her stories. And finally, we've got the Usborne illustrated alphabet, which comes in its own slipcase. And just look, I think this is gorgeous, the cover. It's a little fuzzy, I don't really know the technical term, and it comes with a ribbon bookmark. And it is an alphabet book, but I feel like it's just a step above. That could be a classic to keep on your shelf, or even when your kids grow up and have kids. And each page has an animal that goes along with the letter, so you can hear what the sound makes. And then there's a story as they travel through and meet the other animals. D is for donkey, and then they use the words more, so you have some alliteration and hear the repeated sound. The donkey's dinner was so dirty and disgusting she kicked it over the fence. And F is for fox, and I really appreciate that not all the animals are the typical animals that you would think to associate with the letter. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. You know, you've got the alpaca for A, and then here's L for lion, which would be a more typical thing. And look, wombats. I just think the illustrations in this are really gorgeous, and I feel like with the case and the ribbon bookmark, this can really be a classic for your kids. I hope you saw something in this video that you really loved.